Yo guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be doing something different actually. We're going to be doing a retrospective on MW2. So if you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get into it. So, I said once, I believe in a video, I don't quite remember which one, because, you know, I haven't got a great memory, admittedly. But I said that my thoughts on MW2 were, in short, the game is not bad necessarily, just more so I was disappointed with it. Now, was this excitement worth it? In the beginning, yes. Hype was pretty big prior to launch. Vanguard was obviously not the most popular game, but it was so bad at one point that prior to MW2's launch, I actually uploaded more MW2 videos than Vanguard videos. No, seriously, I did. And I didn't make that many Vanguard videos. All of them were put in a playlist. So I believe it was only about 20 or so, off the top of my head. Anyway, it was also the fastest COD game to make 1 billion. I believe it was in 5 days, I believe. But either way, hope was high. Also with the release of Warzone 2 and DMZ, which were to come out in Season 1, so a few weeks later. So hope was high for the rest of the game. However, we're going to start with the campaign. The campaign was a little better than I remembered, admittedly. I thought the story sort of dragged on, especially at the beginning. Like, the whole hunt for the missiles, which I thought was a kind of weird, boring premise, admittedly, but whatever, to each their own. However, one thing I will say, though, is that the last part of the campaign was quite a bit better in terms of gameplay and story and whatnot. That's usually what COD campaigns usually tend to be like, to be honest. The end of a campaign usually tends to be better than the beginning. My favourite mission on MW2 was Alone. I liked this mission because of the fact that, well, it felt like the best way to use the crafting mechanics. The crafting mechanics I don't personally see coming back in another COD, in my opinion, because I think if it's kind of quite experimental, and if the MW3 open world missions hasn't taught us anything, that sometimes experiments don't really work very well. Anyway, my least favourite, however, was Recon by Fire. Now, obviously this was meant to be like a sort of All Gilly Ducks reference of a mission, but this mission just dragged on. The problem is that I believe this one, like, even some guides take like an hour to complete this mission, you know. This is not an easy mission to do quickly. However, that's the end of campaign. Now on to Spec Ops. Now, I'll be honest, I actually never played this in MW2's life cycle, so I actually had to go off and play it, and my opinion was boring. To be honest, I've never really liked Spec Ops anyway. I've always sort of found it was a bit... it was just kind of like a sort of half-arse mode, to put it the best way. But I don't know, maybe it was better at one point, but I'd never played it during the life cycle, so I couldn't tell you. Now, on to multiplayer. Now, like Spec Ops, it felt a bit half-assed, because it felt like Infinity Ward was sort of just playing it way too safe, because they were sort of drip feeding multiplayer content, and in my opinion. There was also quite a lot of poor maps, especially Border Crossing. It was quite bad, because that thing was just a mess. My favourite map, aesthetically, was Vondel Waterfront. Now, yes, I know it's simply just part of the Vondel map. It's not a very revolutionary design, but still, I personally like the look of it. The weapon selection, I liked. Now, all these weapons are in MW3, so this isn't really too much of a... I didn't really have to go back and look at these. I could just look on the MW3 menus. But, yes, I feel like you get a good selection. And finally, on to Warzone 2 on DMZ. I think Warzone 2 was quite flawed. In short, whilst I found stuff like swimming interesting, I felt like it was a weird thing to sort of build the marketing on. Because if you remember the COD Next from MW2, Warzone 2 and MW2 in general was sort of billed as the swimming game, which I find it weird. Like, if I wanted to play that, I'd play a swimming game. But it never quite got to the same popularity as Warzone 1 did. Obviously, some parts of Warzone 1 was more so because it went released rather than not, due to the fact the lockdowns and whatnot started, so people were home and they didn't really have anything else to do. However, Al Mazrah. There's a reason why there's no Al Mazrah gameplay on my channel. I absolutely hate this map. It might seem insane, but you don't know just how much Hazardxy in MW3 or Warzone 3 is so much better. And I still don't even like Hazardxy. I just think Al Mazrah was just terrible of a map. Now, Hazardxy Island and Vondel, the two Resurgence maps, I'm not counting the Fort map, which was in the game for like 2 weeks. Outside of that, those maps were alright. I personally preferred Vondel better because I like the fact that it was a little bit bigger. But overall, it was kind of, again, just sort of maybe some part of its memories on my part. But I think Fortune's Keep and Rebirth were a lot better, and obviously they're coming to MW3 eventually, so, you know, that's it. Right, finally, DMZ. So, DMZ, I liked. I liked the gameplay of it. Mainly because it was also a very good way to make XP, and yeah, that's most of the reason I played it. It's very similar, for those who didn't play it, it's similar to Modern Warfare Zombies in MW3. It's basically the same, like, it's the same concept, more or less. There was some problems I had, like, for example, I hated 6-man squads. Those were annoying. PvP was kind of annoying. Like, I don't get the people who are angry that PvP is not in Modern Warfare Zombies, because I actually think it's kind of a good thing, to be honest. And depending on the map, right, I've never ever got clearance on this for context. I've always found that the Ashika Island AI was more OP than anyone else's, than any of the standard maps. So anyway, I'm not talking about stuff like Building 21, where of course it's going to be harder because, you know, it's a harder map. But still, if I could just be crazy, admittedly, but I'd like to believe that there was something to that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please comment down below your thoughts on MW2, and please like and subscribe. And yeah, bye.